Ever since I left the game of football, people have come and asked me a lot of different questions. One of my favorite that I get to respond to is, what was the biggest difference? What was the biggest difference between the college level and the professional level? At 23, I walked into the Kansas City Chiefs with nothing more than a hope and a dream. My dream was to elevate from the college game, to become a professional athlete and to compete against the best in the world. My hope was to get one of the permanent lockers on the side of the room and not one of the temporary ones they rolled in. My hope was to get to wear a Chiefs-issued shirt with pride about where I was, not as motivation about where I had just come from. I learned very early on in the NFL, you never know really how your plan is going to work out. I went undrafted, being told no by all 32 teams, and I was cut 4 times alone in my rookie season. My hope was beginning to fade. All I could do, all I had to stand on was my belief in myself. I would actually stare in the mirror and say, I know I can do this. I believe I can do this. I will be an NFL player. Started to look around at the guys. Every time I would get cut, every time I would be released and told my dream was over, I would force myself to reflect upon the city, upon the organization, and most importantly, upon the guys in the locker room. As I began to study them, I began to notice a set of rules, an unspoken code, or a roadmap, if you will, of how they were achieving their success, of how they had what I so desperately wanted. In football, you're divided into 3 groups. The skilled guys, some of you will know their name from fantasy and scoring touchdowns. The big guys, you won't know their names, but if they walked in here, you'd know exactly who they were. And then the big skilled guys, that was my group. We were asked and required to do a little bit of both worlds, but not really expected to be a master of each. This group landed me next to a 13-year Pro Bowl linebacker. Unbeknownst to him, this man became my mentor. I studied his every move, his demeanor, his mindset, his focus, his work ethic, and of course, his success. I was in awe of this guy. And just as a poker player begins to study his opponent, he sees his tell. I saw it out when we were running sprints the first time. As a team, we were required, run 40 yards, he'd run 45. We'd run 50 yards, he'd run 55. We'd go into the weight room, and we'd all sit down and do our 225-pound bench press. He would even be in our group and encourage us, let's go, one more, come on. And then just before he laid down, he would slide a 2.5 on each side and do the same set. Finally, my curiosity got the best of me. Finally, I had to go up and ask him. I said, old man, because in football, if you're over 30, you're considered old. Old man, I don't get it. Do you just have trouble slowing down on the field? Are you up at 4 a.m. like most people your age? The 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds, it won't matter. It doesn't make a difference. I don't understand what you're doing. He smiled and said, look around. Every guy in here is younger, healthier, cheaper than me. Every guy in here is supposed to be replacing me. The only reason I'm still here, the only reason I can compete is because I come in here every day and I steal this. I come in and I steal inches because I need that edge. Back in high school, that edge was just being confident. In college, being a master of the fundamentals might have given you that edge. But up here in the NFL, everyone's confident. Everyone's a master of the fundamentals. The only reason I am here is because I steal that edge. I steal that inch. Because I know an inch can lead to a yard to a first down to a touchdown to a win, and a win to an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. I would argue that that inch, this philosophy, stealing this edge, is more important to me today than it was back when I was playing. It was important to me as I left the game of football. It was important to me as I needed to see those incremental gains. It's important to me as I became a colleague, as I became a salesman, as I became a leader. It's important to me as a husband. It's important to me as a father. It drove me to creating Rookie to Veteran because I began to see the impact that I had, the impact that was laid out in front of me of a roadmap to achieving my best. I began to look outside of myself and see how it could impact students, athletes, professionals, entrepreneurs, sales teams, entire organizations. But there's no lesson on Rookie to Veteran's roadmap more important than the answer to that earlier question. What was the biggest difference between the college level and the professional level? The irony is in how small it really was. It was just an inch. But as you begin to adapt and adopt this mindset, you begin to see the impact it can have and understand if you're not stealing them, if you're not taking them, Somebody is getting it on you. Somebody is getting that edge. Just as a company is not growing, is dying, if you're not stealing inches, you're giving them away. People come to me today and they say, change the world. Financial education, you're out of your mind. Financial literacy, it's been done before, Jed. You're never going to change the world. And I get to smile at them and say, that's fine. I can't change the world. I don't want to change the world. That would be miles and miles of people. But what I can do is I can change one, because that's an inch. Perhaps my mindset is how I approach or am in meetings. Maybe it's my focus. Maybe I leave my phone in my office, or I leave my phone in my pocket, or I turn it off, or I turn it upside down. Perhaps an inch is how I began this presentation, by taking a simple breath. Feel it reset you. Feel it refocus you. Before you respond, before you react, before you send that email or make that call, a simple breath, a little inch can make a big difference. Maybe you're looking at inches in your routine and how you can be more efficient. I arrive everywhere 5 minutes early. Not because I'm cool, that is not my inch, but it's because in football they lock the doors and they fine you. Trust me, losing money will make you show up on time. Perhaps my inch is in money, because money is nothing if a game of inches. Maybe it's my employer benefits. Am I maximizing all of those? Free money in my 401k. Maybe it's the basis points my advisor and my fund are charging me. Maybe I want to make a philanthropic impact. Am I doing it the most strategic way? Do I know what a donor advised fund is? Or maybe it's simply out at dinner. Did I order a water or a drink? Money is a game of inches. The last inches I want to share with you around my mindsets of how we interact with one another. You want power, you want an inch in a meeting, look at the person who can look around the room. I'm sure Sanan could do this here and know every person's name. If you can say someone's name in a meeting, you have power. Your name is the most beautiful word in your spoken tongue. It is music to your ears. If you can say someone's name, it is a sign of respect. I would challenge you as you write your name, very elementary practice, write your name. As you see it, see confidence. As others see it, they should see trust. As your company or your clients see it, they should see value. Write your name down. My name, Jedidiah Collins. I'd love to connect and meet each and every one of you. Next one. How do I continue to interact with people, whether it's here, whether it's at a happy hour, whether it's at a coffee or breakfast, a lunch, a phone call? I try to take an inch at the end of each one. I ask, I'm curious, how can I help you? If you're genuine, if you're authentic with that notion, you are the beginning, the first inch of building a relationship, because you're not selfish in it. You're looking at how you can help that individual. I challenge you to end a meeting with that simple notion. How can I help you? Tomorrow, we're all going to leave here. I would ask you, start your day. First time you see a colleague, first call you make, first meeting you have. Stop, take a second, and do this. A smile is a magical inch. Why? Because it scientifically tells your brain to be happier. But not only that, whoever it sends out, you heard the chuckles in the room, it can reflect and impact into them too. A smile can change not 1, but 2 days. That makes it magical. A smile is also the most powerful tool we have as parents. As your child looks across a room, scared, overwhelmed, afraid, happy, proud, just lost, a smile can reflect to them more than anything else in the world. We understand the difference between the college level and the professional level was this. Turns out the difference between me making a team and not making a team was this. My running back coach sat me down one day and said, son, everybody calls you son, till you get a contract, and then they call you sir. I never got a contract. He said, son, this is the National Football League. You're not going to knock anyone over. You're not going to move people out of the way. They get paid too much money. All we can ask of you, all we require, is that you win a 6-inch battle. If in your collisions you can move your opponent 6 inches, that would be a win. That would be success for you. That notion took me back. I now had my data. I now had my world. I now had my measurement. I knew each and every time I went into a collision, I had to win that 6-inch battle. Each day I showed up, I would steal an inch 6 days of the week, so on Sunday, I could go win that 6-inch battle. I'm proud to say that in 2011, I won that 6-inch battle more than any other person in the National Football League, making me the best in the world. But my journey from being cut a dozen times to the best began with this. As you leave here tomorrow, you have heard amazing things from speakers much, much better and more people smarter than me than I am humbled to realize. But I would hope that tomorrow you look in the mirror, you look at a colleague, you look at whoever you came from or with, and you ask yourself, where can I steal an inch?